there, yarn lovers, it's Gary and I'm coming to you from my happy place, the Yarn Corner here on Vancouver Island in Canada. So welcome. Today is Friday, May the 6th, 2022, and this is not a regular podcast of mine. I'm jumping in here real quick to answer some questions. I was tagged in a questionnaire that's going around called 23 Non-Yarny favorites, and the people that tagged me were Heather from Heather the Crochet Witch and Craig from Fiber Spider. So hi guys, how you doing? I loved watching your videos and getting your answers. I had done this a few years back, but the questions are slightly different, and with time things may have changed. Some of them stayed the same, but I would say that overall maybe 60% are the same, 50% is, 40% is different. I can't even add. So I haven't numbered them. I'll just reel them off as I read through the list. I've got my notebook down here because I wanted to see what it was and document it in here so that I keep it for the next couple of years or so, see what grows, what changes. So yeah, I've got favorite color. I am still green. I love wearing green. But I also love red. I know they're opposite ends of the wheel, the color wheel. But when I'm wearing stuff, I think green suits my complexion the best. Red, I'm drawn to for decor, like if there's any fabrics like blankets or cushion covers. Also, I like red furniture. If there's any sort of like slightly reddish brown colored furniture, I really love that. I'm drawn to those sort of items in red. Now, music genre, I would have to say 80s pop. Now, I want to say all of 80s music because in amongst that were the New Romantics. In Australia, there was a movement going on in the Australian culture as well of all different Australian singers that I really loved. And I was a teenager in the 80s, so I was branching across to all these different feelings and, you know, exploring my own identity as well. And I think music as part of like growing and learning things about the world helps a younger person throughout their teenage years. So I'm going to have to say 80s, and still today, I love those songs. Food. Okay, I'm thinking maybe it's cuisine, but also maybe a type of food. I'm going to have to say the cuisine is Chinese, and the type of food would definitely be noodles. I love all different types of noodles. Rice noodles, like whether they're vermicelli style or pad thai. I love them in egg noodles in soup, whether it's wonton. Just amazing variety of different ways that you can eat noodles. So I'm going to have to say noodles are my favorite food. Soda or pop. In Australia, we don't call it soda or pop. We actually call it soft drink. So I think that's as opposed to hard drinks, so the alcoholic style. So soft drinks are more of the sugar variety for kids, you know, bubbly stuff. I'm going to have to say Diet Coke is my favorite flavor. And animals. Now this is really interesting because I do have a series of different favorite animals, and I've listed them here as domestic, in the wilderness or forest animals, and then under the ocean or in the ocean animal. So I've got dog for domestic, I've got sparrow for wilderness or the forest, and for the sea creature I have octopus. Now there's a funny little quiz about asking your three favorite animals, because it is to do with persona, ego, and how people and how your true nature is, or the shadowed side of your personality. And I think that might be interesting to find out which one is which. I'm going to say, because I reeled them off that way, it would be dog would be persona, sparrow would be ego maybe, and then maybe the shadowed side is the octopus, which is quite fitting. Favorite holiday, I'm going to say is Thanksgiving. Favorite book. Now, I have a few of them, and I only listed one last time, and that was the Nick Bantock series of the Griffin and Sabine books. I still love them. I still open them up occasionally, and if you've not heard of the Griffin and Sabine, there's a few of the books out in the collection, I think 4 or 5 in the series. And you are actually opening up personal letters. So the envelopes and the postcards are printed in this beautiful bound book that you can unflap the envelope and pull the letters out, and it's communications between two people. So I really, really loved that. Now, I had a long and hard think about like, what else is there that I've read in the past that I really love the story to, or, you know, maybe there's some things that really rang true with me, or I've kept in my brain for many years. And I'm going to have to say The Chrysalis is one of them, and that is by John Wyndham, spelled Wyndham. And it talks about like a community that is kind of like driven by keeping almost like the biological sense in line. So it does look at society and how people interact in break off fragments of like cultures. It is a fictional story, but it's got an undertone there of ESP, connecting the key characters together. So that's a very interesting read. The other one is The White Mountains by John Christopher. Now, that's a series of, I think, 4 books, and it talks about, again, more sci-fi, more kind of like undertow of community, how human as a race, because it is intergalactic, and they talk about the tripods, which are people who, well, they're aliens that have landed from another planet. I really liked that because I really enjoyed the nature of the sci-fi fact in the story. So The White Mountains. Now, favorite pizza topping, I'm gonna have to say is olives, followed closely by mushrooms. Pastime, well, I do love taking photographs and creating video for content. So I'm gonna have to say that those are my favorite things to do other than crocheting and knitting and anything yarny. So I do like taking photos and filming video. The other thing that I like doing, which I haven't done for a while, so it's kind of like time-based, the answer is pottery as well. But because I haven't figured out what I'm doing with the pottery club that I've joined because of working full-time and having work overlap the same time I can use the studio, there's a little bit of a, I guess, lack of doing it, for a better word, to actually add that into this question currently. Favorite TV series? Oh, I've got a few of them. So let me just reel them off, and they're all different genres, and you'll probably understand once you hear the titles. So I like Twin Peaks, which is from David Lynch. It's a little quirky. And I like Happy Valley, or In the Line of Duty. Now that's a series on Netflix. I don't know whether Happy Valley, because sometimes they come and go on Netflix, is still available on Netflix. But it's like an English mini-series, over and done with a couple of seasons. I think each season is maybe around 8 episodes long. So there is a start and end time if you're binging, so you don't have to watch it until it dwindles off into Neverland with all the different possibilities and scenarios. So this is over and done with over a couple of series. And it's a detective kind of like whodunit, solving a problem. And I really love the little community that it is filmed in England somewhere, or UK. In the Line of Duty is also another cop shop type of investigation, English-based miniseries. Breaking Bad is another one that I really liked. Stranger Things, because of the quirkiness and because it reminds me of my teen years in the 80s. Absolutely love it. So Heather and I have a similar kind of like, you know, we're connected in that way of loving the 80s. And Star Trek, and more so focusing on the Next Generation, which is kind of a franchise from the Star Trek series that they had on TV a while back. And I really identify with Chancellor Troy, who's an empath, and I kind of love all the different characters that they have. It was, if I'm not mistaken, Star Trek was the first type of television series where it integrated cultures, and it talked about a community in the sense that you could visually see representation of all different aspects of your own community within a set design. So I really liked the groundbreaking, I guess they were the forebearers of all of the, I guess, looking at culture and representing it in acting on stage and whatever I'm trying to say, but it was very groundbreaking. Favorite fruit is definitely an apple. Favorite vegetable, definitely the apple of the earth, which is a potato. Love how versatile both of those can be. Subject at school was art and math. Actor and actress. Well, I'm gonna have to say I have so many of them. I just sat there for a little bit and I wrote down some names, but not one really stands out as a a draw card for me to go to a movie just to see their performance. But I would say Helena Bonham Carter is one of my favorites. Jake Gyllenhaal. Eddie Redmayne as well. I did have a couple of other ones from classic time, but I thought, well, would I really say that they're my favorites? I guess I should mention them because they are kind of here. Judi Dench and Katharine Hepburn. So those are the two other ones that are kind of like, well, Judi Dench, she's still kind of performing now. I think she's amazing. And singer. My favorite singer, now I'm grouping bands as well as single vocal artists. So I have here David Bowie is definitely one of my favorites of all time. I saw him in concert called the Glass Spider, I think it was called, Glass Spider Tour. And Prince, who I also saw on tour back in Australia, and Adele and Billie Eilish. Eilish. So I really like those singers. Now for bands, I like ABBA, Fleetwood Mac. Room is my favorite album of all time. And moving right along, superhero. I'm going to have to say Spider-Man. It still is. He's my favorite superhero. Comedian. Well, I kind of was stumped on this because I do like comedians who commonly appear in funny movies, but to go and see stand-up comic artist in a open mic situation or an audience participate or whatever, I don't really have too many of them that I know or have experienced. So I'm going to have to say here, I can pick some funny shows like The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. I absolutely love that kind of humor. And I just like that series as well. So I just want to say that's who I picked. And season, I'm going to have to say fall, autumn. I really love the colors, the warmthness, the whole festivities that happen around in October here in the Northern Hemisphere. Even though I'm from the Southern Hemisphere, we celebrate autumn on the reverse side. So that's March, April, and May is our autumn as we move into winter. And I was born in autumn in the Southern Hemisphere, so I celebrate my birthday if I'm in Australia. So like that season. Movies. Now, I have a lot of movies that I like, and I would pick them up at any given time and watch them and still be entertained. So for romance, or romance drama, I have A Room with a View. So it's a very period-based movie. It stars Helena Bonham Carter in it as well. And for horror or thriller, I like The Sixth Sense and also What's in the Box. I love that movie. It's Seven. And if you don't know what the reference is, it is I think it's the last seal that's broken, or I don't know whether it's what is it, the 7 deadly sins. So it's the last one that's actually in the box. I hope I've intrigued your interest to go and watch it. It is a little bit of a horror thriller, so there are some sort of intense moments. For my fantasy, I've got Princess Bride. Comedy, I have Clueless. And for animation, I have Monsters, Inc. So there are a few of my favorite movies that I can watch at any given time and really enjoy them. So for my smell, my favorite smell, I'm gonna have to say anything in the forest or tree related. So that's eucalyptus, pine, cedar. I really love sandalwood. So some are subtle, some are like heavier dosed, depending on what I'm in the mood for. I like anything that is inspired by tree fragrances or in the forest. So my favorite decade is the 80s, you guessed it. Everything I love about the 80s, the fashion, the hairstyles, the music, the movies were pretty awesome as well. Like, I'm thinking the Beastmaster, who comes up with those ideas anymore? And, you know, Conan the Barbarian, and I think it was in the 80s. Yeah, and then you have all those like super sweet, beautiful, you know, coming of age movies like 16 Candles and, just way too many to mention. So YouTube channel, my favorite YouTube channel that's Non-Yarny, because all of this is Non-Yarny, is Earth Nation Ceramics, and that is Dante. He has a brilliant YouTube channel that teaches how to do pottery techniques. He got me really influenced when I was getting inspired to come up with ideas to make things with pottery and ceramics. Another one in similar vein is John the Potter, and his name's John, obviously. I joined him when he was first starting out as a YouTuber, and he was in a coffee shop somewhere in North America, and he would do all of his throwing and kiln firing down in the basement of his coffee shop, and then sell them upstairs or serve his baked goods on his pottery. So it was a kind of nice balance of like crafting but also work life. And then since then he's just blown up completely, and he's created a whole studio which is very, very, you know, top of the kind of like arts kind of with ventilation and you know, nice floors and finished appointments. It's just wonderful to see how he grew from his humble beginnings. Also, I love true crime, so I am suggesting that one of my favorite YouTubers out there is Coffee House Crimes, and that's Adrian. Adrian focuses on different interesting investigations that have been solved or unsolved, or just plain strange encounters, and he will go across the whole world and pick stories from all different cultures. So it's a great balance of like finding out what strange things are happening all over the world. So I really like that as well. So that completes the 23 questions. I hope you enjoyed it and I didn't, you know, ramble on too much. Now, I have to tag people to keep this going, and because I'm so late at the game, I don't know who's already been tagged. So I'm going to tag everyone. I hope everyone has fun with it. If you don't have content on your channel and you want to answer the questions, then you can open up the description box. You'll see that the questions are down there, along with any YouTuber that I've mentioned, and you can answer the questions in the comment section. So I'd love to hear your responses and maybe see whether we have something that's similar, or if it sparks up an idea for you to go and watch or read one of my favorites. Now, I should talk about what I'm wearing. This is the Dragon Belly shawl, and I will link this pattern down below. It's crocheted. I absolutely love it, and it uses the red heart. It's a wrap in the color, I think it's haute couture or something like that. It's like a gray color base. And yeah, with that, I will catch you up soon. I hope everyone's doing well, and Mother's Day is coming up on Sunday. So I'll be Skyping with my mum to find out the details of her trip, and hopefully she's booked it and I know a date when she's going to arrive. So to all the mums out there, I want to wish you a happy Mother's Day if we don't see each other before Sunday. Bye for now.